Welcome Cancer to your December 2019 reading. Guys, I cannot believe we are at the end of the year already, but here we are. Welcome back anyone who is already following my readings and a part of our amazing community, this amazing YouTube community that we're building. You are awesome, guys, you just blow me away. Thank you so much for your likes, shares, comments. Anyone who is just joining us for the first time, welcome. It is really wonderful to have you with us. And I'm Florence. I put a lot of extra free resources into the world, so do please check out the information box. I also offer a free private reading to one of my subscribers each month, so do just check out those possibilities. And of course, as we are moving towards Christmas, I am doing a bit of a big Christmas giveaway. In the first week of December, I'm going to be giving away 10 copies of my new diary, The Art of Manifestation Astro-Moon Diary. I won't say too much about this. I will tack on a little video at the end of the reading for anyone who's interested. But I will be giving away 10 free copies in the first week and probably some extra readings, extra free readings to private individuals, to subscribers, as we build up towards Christmas. So guys, just watch out for the announcements. Now for this reading, I was drawn to green aventurine, to the angel and to the wand. There's a very powerful energy about them, actually. It's quite a physical energy, that's what I would say, that I'm experiencing from them today. Now, they're very good for, the energy of green aventurine is very good for removing energy blocks. But it is curious, joining these two together, the angel and the wand, it's quite, I can feel the energy kind of approaching, and it feels, I want to say cleansing at a cellular level. That's what it really feels like, as though it's permeating in a very, it's like being bathed in some way, but bathed sort of from the inside out. It's probably the best way I can describe this. So let's draw some runes. Now I'm hearing we're going to draw 4 runes. I did one of the other readings, and halfway through the reading, the rune bag started to shuffle on its own and another rune put itself forward. At this present moment in time, I'm expecting to draw 4 runes. We'll see what comes through. I have to open myself up to any possibility in a reading. Our first rune is the rune of fertility. Now, the rune of fertility asks you to fertilize the ground for your own deliverance. It's a rune that speaks of new beginnings, and it's a rune that speaks also of completion of beginnings. It speaks of the need to, if you've started something, you need to kind of finish it before you move on to the next thing, or the next phase, or the next aspect of that journey. So that's the energy of fertility, which is our first governing rune. Our second rune is the rune of the self. This is the very first rune in the sort of series. Kind of everything begins with the self. Everything starts with the self. In terms of manifestation, we know that it's the work that we do within that then begins to radiate and create a difference in our external world. Now, the rune of the self asks us to immerse ourselves in the presence of everyday living. Be humble. Be extraordinary in an ordinary way. Embrace every aspect of your lives. This is really the powerful message here. I want to say, if we think about the pathway of the spiritual warrior, and I mean, you guys are all on that pathway. In many ways we all are, but you're consciously on it. Otherwise you wouldn't be looking at readings like this. In terms of that conscious pathway, we are called to kind of walk our talk. We're called to integrate our knowledge, awareness into every crevice of our lives. So it kind of speaks of doing everything to the very best of our ability with integrity, with the values of the spiritual warrior. Whether you are hanging the washing on the line, or you are, I don't know, undertaking some monumental task. It's really about doing it to your absolute best. I often think the rune of the self calls us to step into a place where we become our own hero or heroine. It's got that flavour, but in a really kind of almost like an everyday way in every aspect of our lives. So again, connecting in with fertility, new beginnings, the completion of beginnings. So maybe you're needing to sort of tie some things up, tie up some loose ends in some way in order to kind of move forwards into next year. Of course, we are about to enter an eclipse season. We have a new moon eclipse in Capricorn on the 26th of December. Very powerful times, eclipses. Sudden happenings. I always think it's as though, I think that phrase, the veil is thin, is relevant to eclipses. It's as though we can sort of step through a portal of time that is different. It's quite interesting because I think the energy around eclipses means that we can have quite significant flashbacks to things from the past, and also kind of flashes forwards in terms of where we want to be going and the work in hand right now in our present everydayness. So quite an interesting kind of energy with these runes, and coming into that sort of, that eclipse on Boxing Day of all days as well. So a time when a lot of us won't actually be at work. We'll be, I guess, maybe hopefully in a space where we're not having to fully engage ourselves in all of the demands of life. That's of course not true for everybody, and we should actually thank everyone who is in fact working over the Christmas period, because work continues, especially in the caring industry. So guys, big thank you to those of you who do make that commitment and continue working, so that actually for the rest of us, life still evolves and those important things are taken care of. Two more runes, guys. We have the rune of Gateway and the rune of Possessions. Now, the rune of Gateway is a rune of effectively evaluation. We are asked to pause, to look back, to really lean into the learning from every experience. I would almost say to sit in a space of appreciation. That's what's really coming through. To sit in a space of, it's not just evaluation, but it's appreciation with that space of evaluation, where we can actually appreciate everything that we've experienced, even the really tough stuff, because it's contributed to who we have become today. And it's from that space of integrating the learning that we step through the gateway into a new phase of life. Remember, fertility, new beginnings, new opportunities, the self, right action with the self, becoming our own heroine, hero. Evaluation, but with gratitude, with appreciation, with learning. And then the rune of Possessions. This is a rune that speaks of ambition satisfied. It's a rune of nourishments, and nourishment from almost like the worldly to the divine. That's the energy, actually. That's exactly the energy. That's what I was picking up with the green aventurine. It feels like I'm being bathed or washed in some sort of energy from the worldly to the divine. It's very lovely to sit in the energy of that. It really is. It's very powerful. But not abruptly powerful. It just is. It's almost as though somebody's wrapping a blanket round me. That's really the way I can describe it. So nurturing, nourishment. This rune also says, enjoy your success, but remain humble. Be sure to share of your success. That's the message, really. Again, that remain humble. Remain on your pathway of the spiritual warrior. If nourishment and success is coming your way, guys, then allow the blanket to be wrapped around you, but be sure to welcome others in as well. Really, really lovely, particularly different energy to this reading compared to the others that I've done. I don't always remember the details of readings, because when I'm in it, I'm really ultimately, anyone who reads we are a channel to see what comes through. But I do remember the flavour of them, which is interesting. And this is very, very different to the others. Sometimes it's almost as though one sign flows into the next, which which I guess would impact astrologically. We could sort of see how that would resonate. But this has got a very distinctly different energy. I feel literally wrapped up. And it was quite curious. Even meditating into this, I found myself feeling really warm. I actually took my jumper off. You know, we're in the middle of winter here, and winter has set in here in the UK. But actually, yeah, I felt quite warm. So I'm going to draw from, oops, here I am, my apologies for those of you that would prefer it if I didn't talk and waffle away quite as much in between the cards. So guys, I'm going to draw from my oldest and most sort of well-used and well-worn pack of tarot cards. Okay. We have the Nine of Swords. Oh, and a card has moved itself forwards as well. We have Nine of Swords and Six of Cups. The Nine of Swords would suggest that something is on your mind. Something is bothering you. It's kind of like something has been... For some of you, it may be something that's been nagging away for a while, and maybe in December it comes to a head. Or it may just be that something is around you that's causing you to worry significantly, but there is something around you that is causing you concern. That will be different for each of you. The Six of Cups is interesting because it's a card of nostalgia. It's a card of evaluation, of looking back. Okay? Again, back to this rune of gateway. I'm going to draw more cards. And then we have the Magician, the winged messenger of the gods, represented by Mercury. Okay, and then we have the Ten of Cups. This is lovely, lovely energy, because this is a card of contentment. It's a card of marriage. It's a card of union. It's also a card of realness. Okay, so I do now hear a kind of quite a clear message. So something is concerning or bothering you or worrying you. Now, I think for some of you this relates to another person. For some of you it actually relates to something about yourself. The invitation here in this aspect of reflection and evaluation is to look at almost, I want to say, your own contribution to that, if that makes sense. It's kind of like, let's say in every relationship, even if we meet someone who treats us badly, for example, or someone who walks all over us, you know, ultimately we've opened the door and let them in. And if we, see, I'm coming back to this energy of Green Aventurin again, it removes energy blocks. It's really good for us on every level of our being. It physically cleanses at a cellular level. I feel as though some of you are needing to free yourselves from some aspect of the past. It could be the residue that was left from a situation, but it's also to do with acknowledging and recognizing, kind of almost like, what made you so open to that? What made you so vulnerable to that position? Because there is an element of nostalgia here. And with the Magician, we are talking manifestation. What's really lovely is we move to the Ten of Cups. It's like somehow I feel like there's this sort of deep cleansing that goes on. You let something go, or you have the opportunity to, let's put it that way. Sometimes in a reading it really feels as though people actually let something go, or something is calling to be let go of. And it's almost as though the message in the reading is saying don't cling or don't hold on to it. This doesn't have that flavour. It's more a question of self-evaluation that puts you, and it's that self-evaluation that puts you in a position of personal empowerment. You get to be able to review. It's much more about building than letting go, if that makes sense. So rather than, The example I just used was sometimes it feels as though things are calling to be let go of, and we don't want to let go of them for whatever reason. You know, it's a human thing to not always want change, or to be afraid and fearful of change. This has a very different flavour to it. This is about evaluating, appreciating how you've got to where you are, and choosing to move forwards. It's choosing to move through this gateway. And that's a position of empowerment, because the new phase of life is actually about what you would really like. It's like putting you in the driving seat. I want to say if we follow habitual patterns of behaviour, I almost want to say we all follow habitual patterns of behaviour. I'm stunned, you know, even, I think I've been on a pathway of self-awareness for a very, very long time, you know, working as a counsellor for over 27 years. You know, that's a pathway of self-learning before we even begin to set forth on, you know, in talking and connecting with other people. I am still amazed at things that can surface, and I think, wow, you know, I'm stunned that somebody could still press a button. And, you know, the amazing thing is our awareness, because if you notice that's happening, you're in an empowered position to do something about it. So it is as though something, whatever is concerning you, and I'm hearing this now very clearly, whatever it is that is concerning you, worrying you, it's coming to your attention not to be worried about, but to be understood. Because it's through that understanding that you move beyond it. This is like a conscious choosing to move beyond something with awareness. And it puts you in your own driving seat. It puts you back in that position where you can begin to think about what you do want. I'm also hearing quite a powerful message. It'll be interesting to see what other cards show up. But this is a card of setting intentions, really, as well. You know, what do we want? What are we going to ask the universe for? Coming back to that new moon eclipse in Capricorn on the 26th of December. The new moon is always fabulous for setting intentions. Now, an intention is a focused piece of thought. A prayer is a focused piece of thought. Worry is also a focused piece of thought. If we are really, really concerned about something, and that's our predominant thought, it's a bit like setting an ongoing space of intention or prayer for the very thing that we don't want. Now, it's natural to worry if there's stuff going on, but there is something here that's, you know, the energy here, or the message around it, is one of, it's like an invitation to shift your perspective of worry so that you step into a place of empowerment. It's very, very clearly coming through. I do feel very nurtured in this reading, actually. It's very interesting, the energy. Now I'm going to use another tarot pack. Again, old favourites. And for those of you, I know a lot of people sometimes put in the comments, they ask which packs of cards I use. There's a link below now on my website. There's now a page with every pack of cards that I ever use, and they're photographed, so you'll be able to find what you're looking for if you find that you're being drawn to any. The card of peace. Okay, this card asks you to, well, actually I'm being asked to place it here. This card is asking you to, it's like find a resolution to the conflict in some way. It says you're ready to look at the situation as it is, and in doing so you are able to recenter yourself, to rebalance yourself. And now we have the card of truce. Very interesting, because the card of truce suggests, this is a Four of Swords, Two of Swords, Four of Swords in a traditional pack. The card of truce says, actually, even if there is a surface calm, yeah, so even if you're managing a surface calm, it says there are very deep undercurrents, often a lot of emotion under the surface. Some of you may be feeling as though you have to present a front to the world, and in doing so, it's slightly keeping the lid on your real feelings. Whatever is concerning you, it's a time when the energy is available for you to really look at this and to look at what's going on from a perspective of moving into that empowerment, and also to cleanse, release, shed, heal any aspects within yourselves that, as I said, this is this wonderful energy. I really do feel like I've had a cloak wrapped around my shoulders. It's really lovely. But it's kind of created in me a space where I feel it's like a reflective space. I feel I could sit in this cloak and I could just take time to evaluate, and I will see clearly. That's what it feels like. I'll be given the information I need to see clearly. Wonderful energy, new beginnings. Yeah, this is all about empowerment, guys. This is about empowerment through awareness, empowerment through understanding. It also means stopping what I would call the mental, forgive this language, but I want to say the mental verbal diarrhea. And please, I'm not just making reference to you. I think I will make that reference. I will take ownership of that. My mind can run wild. It's because I have a very creative mind. But I have to kind of be mindful of what kinds of things I'm thinking about. Because just as I can think of all sorts of creative possibilities and ways forwards, I could also, if something is bothering me, get into a kind of a spiral of thinking where I'm, again, focused more on the fears of what might happen than the positives of how I intend to move forward. So it's that sort of, it's shifting that difference. It's a very empowering thing to do, actually, I would add. So I'm next going to draw from the astrology pack. Okay, life's purpose, the North Node. This has a very karmic flavour to it. And, you know, with the Saturn-Pluto connection that's been going on, I think, you know, we are all being called, I think, to notice, I guess structures are being dissolved that are no longer working for us. And we're being called to step into that space of, you know, actively learning and restructuring and letting go of the old and moving into the new in terms of a paradigm. That's a very simplistic way of saying it. But I think what is happening to a lot of us, we're also being called to let go of any inner belief structures that hold us back or are bringing the things we don't want into the world rather than the things that we do want, and hence the connection to worrying. I also think for a lot of people, these shake-ups are pointing us in the direction of our life purpose. You know, we may have been walking a particular path, thinking that, you know, it was sort of, certainly it was okay or it was good enough, and then shake-ups come along and it takes us in slightly different directions, for some people radically different directions. But new beginnings, you are being asked, I think for some of you there is something going on here that could shift the energy towards you moving into a greater sense of awareness of your life purpose. That's what I'm hearing. I'm loving this card, the Ten of Cups, as well, because this is a card of contentment. It's a card of marriage. It's also a card of realness within relationship, whether relationships with others or relationships to ourselves. The realness means we see things for what they are. We see people for who they are. There's authenticity in this card. And I think that authenticity creates new possibilities, new awareness of new possibilities. Okay, so we've had a card leap onto the floor. Guys, you're going to have to bear with me while I pause and pick it up. So there we were, talking about Pluto and Saturn. Pluto transformation. Move that around a little bit. There we go. Pluto transformation, that is everything that I've just been talking about. I think for you guys, December is definitely a time when I almost feel as though you heal something from within, or that's the energy that's around you, the opportunity. There needs to be a shift in perspective if you're over worrying about something. For some of you, that may not be the case, but that there is something concerning or bothering you, and you are asked to hold an objective position on whatever it is that's worrying you, because I think that enables you to see something with clarity and make decisions accordingly. And as I said, for me, awareness is the key to walking a pathway of, healthy evolution. It's awareness that enables us to make informed decisions. It's awareness that helps us to navigate through the ups and downs of life in ways that actually maintain our empowerment. So guys, I'm going to connect in with the Art of Manifestation cards next. I feel like I'm doing a lot of talking in this reading. We have the card You Are Important. But it's curious, it's like, I think it's this energy of the green aventurine. I feel like I'm in this sort of reflective space where, I'm just hearing what needs to be said. We have the card of opportunity. We have the card of uncertainty. And the card is on the floor again. Wow. It's really interesting. You could really feel a little bit of tension with something wanting to come through there. Okay. We have the card of Course Correct. So let me read through these. Believe in yourself. You are important. You are lovable. You are special. You are a unique and extraordinary person. Wherever you've come from, whatever has happened to you in the past, it is time to let go of any negative perceptions that you may carry about yourself. This card speaks of new opportunities, although they may not necessarily come in the form that you were expecting. Be alert. Look beyond the obvious. Be prepared for opportunities disguised as loss. If a new pathway opens for you, trust that it is leading you in the direction that you are meant to go. Uncertainty. Calm the noise within your mind. Get still and meditate. If you are still uncertain, give yourself 4 hours and meditate again. If you are still unclear, wait for 4 days, and if necessary, 4 weeks. The answer will come. And we then have the card of Course Correct. If an obstacle or diversion has interrupted your plans, this card is here to assure you that the delay is providential, bringing you an opportunity to pause and reassess in order to fine-tune your direction. So this is really very clear, this believe in yourself, the worries, the concerns, the over-worrying. It's natural to worry at times of transition. It's natural to worry about things. It's a very human thing. But as I said, if we over-worry, it actually internally sort of erodes our own self-confidence, because we begin to look through the lens of impossibility rather than possibility. This card is speaking of new opportunities. Just be very alert and recognise that if something comes along, there may be a gateway of opportunity that's being offered to you, but it may not be, it could be something that's unexpected. And again, just pause. If you're not sure or you're uncertain, it's really interesting. This rune of gateway comes with a message, or in the book that I studied from, and it suggests that we climb to the top of a mountain, which is really lovely because that's pretty much what this is. And we climb to the top of a mountain and we pause, and we take our time to assess, evaluate. We cast our mind back over the life that we have lived, every aspect of it. And as we gain that appreciation and understanding of everything that has brought us to where we are today, to who we are today, that's when we start to really value ourselves. It connects into the believe in yourself card. We then step through the gateway from this position of increased awareness, which is where we are then free to course correct. if we need to. If an obstacle or diversion has interrupted your plans, this card is here to assure you that the delay is providential. Again, bringing you an opportunity to pause and reassess in order to fine-tune your direction. Cancer, I think the message for this month is very, very clear. Big, big, big look after you. Really important. Be big on the self-care front. Allow yourself to try and shift from that perspective of worry and look at whatever it is that's concerning you from a perspective, and I know this isn't always easy, but from a perspective that it is calling you to something, either to course correct or to shift something internally, maybe a belief in yourself. Try to view whatever is concerning you as something that is offering you the potential for a new opportunity, a new beginning. We have to fertilize the ground for our own deliverance. That's what this rune speaks of. And this is all about your connection to yourself, to your higher self, being the bigger, better version of you, taking that step forwards where you learn from experiences and you become more consolidated on your pathway. As I said, very interesting. Nourishment. So, as I said, also a rune of ambition satisfied. So it feels as though there's a very big shift to a new beginning here. Perhaps the beginning of December offers this opportunity for reflection, or situations that come along that cause you to have to pause and reflect, but they are opportunities. Opportunities sometimes come in disguise. This is all about transformation and leaning you towards, I would say, a greater understanding of your life purpose, leading to new beginnings and contentment. That's the flavour here. And be sure to look under the surface at what's going on below the surface. This is a time to look deeply at whatever is going on. Guys, this is very powerful. I still feel wrapped in a blanket. I almost feel as though the energy is extended as we've been drawing the cards, and it's kind of like a cocoon around me and around my desk where I read. So guys, so much love to you. And of course, watch out for the announcements if you are part of this community, if you're a subscriber. Watch out for the announcements for the kind of free giveaways and things. And as we move through towards Christmas, I'll be letting you know about the various things that I'm going to be gifting every week as we build up to the Christmas time. So much love to you guys, so much love. The Art of Manifestation Astro-Moon Diary 2020. Welcome, guys. So what is this diary about? Basically, I put it together because I couldn't find what I was looking for out there in the world. I could find various other diaries, but nothing gave me all of the components that I actually wanted to literally be carrying around with me. For a long time, I have been fascinated by the way that the incoming energy and planetary influences affects us each individually, particularly in relationship to our ability to be consciously manifesting the things that we desire in the world. Now, anyone that knows me very well will know that not so long ago, my world was not particularly in a great place. I faced some huge challenges, and I really worked very, very hard at understanding how I could turn things around from the inside out. And in many ways, this diary contains a lot of the information that I had to go and search for, sort of collated in a format that I think makes it very accessible and easy to relate to and engage with in terms of your own personal journey. You will find in the diary a breakdown of the steps of manifestation as I have come to understand them and use them in my own life. You will also find information about the different phases of the moon and how to use that energy in terms of your own process of manifestation. You'll find information about the energy of the moon as she travels through the zodiac signs, and also what happens when she's in between signs and her energy isn't being channeled in any particular direction. You'll find information not just about Mercury in retrograde and how that energy affects us, but also Mars and Venus, the warrior planets, in retrograde. In the diary pages, you will find a week to view page with positions of the moon every single day. And of course, also most importantly for me, as this is something I have been really looking for, next to the week to view, there is a page where you can actually journal and make your own personal notes and reflections. It means that this diary can become a personal record for you in your own growing ability to understand the incoming energy and use it to its absolute fullest. So guys, I am going to be giving away 10 copies of this diary in the first week of December. So please watch this space. That will, obviously, it's a subscriber offer. But guys, thank you so much for being a part of this amazing community. And do look out for the announcement of that, and also look out for the announcements the following week, because I will also be giving away further copies. There is a proper journal that goes with the diary as well, and I'll be giving away copies of those in the second week of December. So much love to you guys, so much love.